this just happened on Tuesday of this week, and a grizzly bear got into her tent and dragged the lady out and killed her.
And now, coming to you from the K2 studios in San Diego, California, it's the world-famous Kris and Kristine Show.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? How are you doing today? Thank you so much for listening, and I am Kris.
And I'm Kristine, and welcome to episode 95 of the Kris and Kristine Show. Do-do-do-do.
Fantastic. Number 95. You know who also has number 95? And that is the famous Disney Pixar Lightning McQueen.
Oh, I didn't know that. You come up with the most random trivia to associate with every one of our episodes. Do you spend all week prepping for that?
No, it's just dumb knowledge that I have. I don't know much.
I don't think it's dumb knowledge. I think you could win Jeopardy.
I don't know about that, because there's some things I don't know about, but ask me some Pixar questions. I think I know.
Well, the category is Disney for 200.
Ooh, I know that one.
Yeah.
I went to 1,000. Skip the 200 questions. Go to the big
It'd be
ball.
some obscure question about Mickey Mouse's, toenail color or something like that.
That would be black and white.
Well, what's going on with you this week, Kris?
Oh, it's been a fantastic week. We are actually, what's funny is that right now, today, I am starting vacation. Yes, Vacation Kris is
You are always
back.
on vacation.
I love it.
But you know what? Vacation Kris hasn't actually made his debut yet because you've been cranky Kris all day long.
Because I've been stressed out.
I'm sorry. I asked you to pull out 5 shirts and 5 shorts for the boys.
Thank you for recognizing my hard work.
Yeah, compared to everything else I did.
You do a lot, baby.
Yes, you're right. I do a lot.
You're fantastic,
welcome.
by the way. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
I love you so much.
You're just saying that right now because of, being cranky with me. But anyways, I'm sorry that you are stressed out. I did nothing to create that situation. But Vacation Kris, when are you going to show up?
Well, I am going to show up in the car tomorrow when we are cruising 5 million miles away on a road trip.
Why are you saying we are cruising? You're the one that's going to be cruising. You like to sit in the passenger seat and make me drive, you turkey.
That's right.
I don't mind it because I get control of the radio.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And you get to handle the kids.
Oh, even better. Hopefully their devices are working correctly.
Oh my gosh. Hopefully I can, keep them occupied by technology.
That's right. So we are taking a road trip tomorrow. We're actually going on a vacation, a real vacation this time, not just hanging out at the house.
Yeah, so where are we going?
Far away.
To a land far, far away.
But we're staying within the state, though.
Are we?
Are we? I don't know. Are we?
Well, why are you being so cryptic about it? Just tell everybody where we're going.
We're going up to Bass Lake, which is just outside of Yosemite, California.
Yes. Yosemite National Park is, it's about an hour and a half maybe from Bass Lake. But yes, it's in the Sierra Nevadas. It's in the edge of the Central Valley of Central California, the San Joaquin Valley in Central California. And it's near where my family is.
Fantastic. Your family's going to be there, right?
Well, my parents are. I don't know if my sisters are coming up or not because we're getting there on a Sunday evening, but we are going to have our friends join us with one of my best friends and her husband and her stepdaughter, his daughter, are coming up to spend the week up there too.
Fantastic. We have all 3 kids here, and all 3 of them are going in the car. We're taking Kristine's brand new Ruby Red ride up there.
She needs a new name.
What's wrong with Ruby Red?
Because that was the lemon.
Yeah. Do you think it jinxed it?
I think so.
Oh,
I think we need to give her a new name.
Oh. Well,
I don't know. We'll come up with something
how
like
about Cardinal?
Sapphire.
How about
or
USC?
Something.
Only reason I'm saying that, I'm looking at your pennant right over there. I'm naming off USC. Trojan. How about Tommy Trojan?
No, thank you. We'll be okay. But back to you, Kris. So you were saying that this week has been fantastic. Tell us what's been going on with you over the course of this week.
Well, if you may not know, I have another podcast. I know you're thinking wow, this guy is so busy and he's got this podcast and another podcast?
I don't know if everybody was thinking that, but okay.
How does he even make it happen? Well, lack of sleep, that's how you make it happen. And lots of coffee, really.
And being cranky 24/7.
Yes, the crankiness powers my day. So on the other podcast, you can find that at anchor.fm/podtastic audio. It is Podtastic Audio. You can Google it up and look it everywhere on the final interweb. So at Podtastic Audio, which is my podcast about podcasting and kind of how we do the podcasting over here on the Kris and Kristine Show. It's like the behind the scenes, that fancy stuff. And if you might remember, maybe a month or so ago, I actually had a chance to interview the co-founders of CleanFeed. CleanFeed. I know.
What?
CleanFeed is the recording platform that we use every time I have a guest or guests come through here, or movie clips like the last episode we had movie clips. We did that all live in CleanFeed. So I actually got a chance to talk to the creators of CleanFeed about a month ago on my podcast. You can find that episode. It's episode number 20.
So what does that have to do with good news this week? I'm not seeing the connection.
So what's funny is that just for funsies, I decided to just Google Podtastic Audio. And the reason why
Were you doing that thing where like people Google themselves to see if anything shady comes up?
Yeah, kind of. But what I was looking for was because I was on Apple. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. I think I'm on whatever the normal podcast players.
Okay.
But when you Google it, you'll find yourself on some obscure podcast players. And I was like, what podcast player is that? I never even heard of. But you'll Google it, you'll see where you pop up along the interweb.
Okay.
So I'm looking through the Google feed under Podtastic Audio. I see the regular places I'm on, the regular players. And then I notice it said CleanFeed, Podtastic Audio under CleanFeed's website.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, what? Well, that's weird. So then I click on it, and it turns out I went straight to their CleanFeed article section. It's called the blog, but it's really a bunch of articles that CleanFeed, they write about their software and about their stuff. And so CleanFeed wrote an article about me.
What?
About Podtastic Audio.
Why didn't you tell me this?
I told you, baby.
Oh, come on.
But it was so fun. I was blown away. I was like, what? They wrote a fantastic article about the time they talked to me on their site.
Well, what did they say? Like, were they like, this is a really cool guy and, we want him to come work with us? Or like, what was it?
I wasn't that in depth. This basically said how we had a great conversation, how I use CleanFeed and how busy I am with work and everything, and that I juggle podcasting. And
they really said that you're busy?
They did say that.
Come on. You say that too much. That's all people write about you. This is Kris, and he podcasts, and he's busy.
Yeah, well.
Oh, come on.
Well, it's in writing, so.
Okay.
So anyways, they wrote a fantastic article. It's like a one-page article about me and Podtastic Audio, and they left the links to my podcast in their article. So
when was this published? Like just this week?
It's funny you say that. It was actually published like 2 months ago.
Gosh, well, I'm thinking.
I just noticed it though.
But they're like a really big international company. So did you see any spikes in your numbers like at that time frame? Do you think that
it's funny?
Do you think it drove traffic to you?
Yeah, I think it did because the interview I had with them was probably one of my most popular episodes. And I was kind of wondering, I just figured because it was a CleanFeed interview with the two co-founders of CleanFeed, that was the reason why. Had I not known that they actually published an article about their experience talking with me in their on their website, and they put the link to that episode right in the website. So,
well, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was. I was blown away. I saw that and I was like, "What? I'm published? Holy crap, check this out. I'm famous."
You must have been like over the moon excited.
Oh, I pretty much texted everybody I knew, and I posted it all over Twitter and all over the world. I texted it to everybody and tweeted it out, and Instagram shot that.
How did that feel for you? Like, just talk about your emotions when you saw that, and then when you read the words that they wrote. I
was literally on like cloud 9. I was so like, wow. These guys are impressed enough with me and what I do, considering that like we started this podcast like 2 years ago. And
yeah, almost exactly.
I knew nothing about how to do this. I didn't know where to plug gear into or how to plug stuff in and how to record, how to even edit audio or do any of that stuff. And I pretty much kind of figured it out on the fly as I went along. We upgraded gear, of course, and all that. And I found CleanFeed. I think CleanFeed was literally a godsend when it comes to our podcast because
yeah, it really has been if you think about it.
We do a lot, not so much just even talking to other people around the world, which you can do with CleanFeed, but we also record stuff locally, like the last episode.
Right.
We had clips and sound effects and stuff live. Like that stuff is amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
And so
it felt really good to you?
Oh, it felt so good having these guys actually write me about me in the article and leave a link. And I feel like I'm cloud 9, still amazing.
Aw, that's so awesome. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you so much. So, babe, turning the tables on you. What have you done? What has been going on this week with you?
Well, it's been a busy week. Since I finished school, I've been like trying to figure out what to do with I don't want to say with my life because I have a great job, a great paying job that I'm really good at and I find a lot of joy in. But, my nights are, I don't want to say that they're empty, but there's a lot of blank space. And I've been looking for a creative outlet because I really love to do things that are creative and that help others. And I just have kind of been wrestling with what that would be. And, last weekend, I think we talked about it on the episode that we were going to be helping to put on a reception for one of my best friends for her post-COVID her COVID elopement, but this was her reception. And I did this beautiful spread, and it was like a grazing table and all of these floral centerpieces. And at that party, I know that you were there, but there were so many people coming up to me and talking about like how talented I was and what a gift I had to be able to put this beautiful spread together. And people were asking for my info and talking about, well, do you do this for a business? And I was like, well, no, I just do it for fun. And, I really started to think about that because I have another wedding that I'm doing August 14th. I'm doing all the floral for it. And it really started to simmer on, like, do I have something to offer? And the bride that I'm working with in August added me to this Facebook group called San Diego Weddings. And there's like thousands of couples in there and vendors, like people that do different services, photography and videography and flowers and coordinating and all that.
So it's like a spot to be in if you're in the wedding. If you're like in the wedding business, it's like where to be.
Right. It is a good networking site. And so people will put up requests, like brides will put up requests and say, is there anybody that's willing to do or that does coordinating in this price range? And then you can message them and direct message them and see if they want a quote. And I was looking at these young, well, I don't want to say young, but I was looking at these brides and these couples that were really desiring to have somebody support them with their wedding. And I was like, well, I have these skills. And because I have such a good paying job during my day job, I don't have to get paid a ton, but getting paid something to help pay back my school loans would be helpful.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I decided to take the plunge. And it was so funny. I remember, I think it was like on Tuesday, it was like Tuesday night, maybe Wednesday night. Oh no, I know what it was. I went to go do a venue walkthrough for my August bride, and I was there with her wedding coordinator. And the wedding coordinator was going over like the logistics, and I was just like, she is so not professional and just like not making this about the bride and groom. And the bride, I've become really good friends with her over the course of this. We didn't know each other really before. And she called me the next day and she's like, I'm paying this woman so much money. And you could steer things so much better. I wish I would have known that you had all of these skills. I would have just hired you. And so that night I decided like, okay, this is the confirmation that I needed. And I decided to start back up into the wedding business.
Wow, look at you, like the wedding planner over here.
But better because I do it all.
Yeah, fantastic,
but,
babe.
I used to have a business when I was up in Fresno, and I started out with it by myself right after Zeke was born as a creative outlet, and I just didn't know how to like price things, and then I would end up doing everything for the weddings and just be so exhausted. And it was called Creations by Kristine with K's.
Ooh, fantastic.
But then I had a business partner join me, and it was called Absolute Couture. And that was couture with a K, and it was A and K for my business partner. Her name started with an A. But down here, that's such a different market for weddings, and people really are.
Really?
Yeah, they're really looking for a full, like, up in Fresno, there was a lot of like DIY kind of stuff, or like trying to keep it super. I mean, there's a lot that pay a lot for weddings, but a lot of people trying to keep it like pretty simple and really
like backyard, kind of like simple.
Not necessarily, but sometimes. But like having it at the wedding hall at the church or the reception hall at the church and things like that. But down here, it's like a whole production with a lot of the weddings, and they're all different ranges, but. When you're down by the beach, people want these beautiful, romantic, full production weddings at the beach.
A lot of outdoor type weddings.
A lot of outdoors, a lot of uplighting and florals, and a lot of coordination. And so I launched my website, and it's called Kristine Smith Designs, and it's Kristine with a K, so KristineSmithDesigns.com. And you can find me at Kristine Smith Designs on Instagram, or email me at hello@KristineSmithDesigns.com. And that's my email. But I'm really proud of myself because if you go, and it's best if viewed on an actual computer, mobile it'll work okay. But if you view my website on a computer, I was able to get some video of weddings up on the front splash page. And like when you enter into the website, it's so aesthetically like just beautiful.
It looks amazing, by the way. I love it.
Thank you. And I'm really proud to say that from one post that I responded to, I now have 2 weddings officially booked on top of my one in August and 2 more in the queue. And those 2 are already for 2022.
Wow, you got business for a couple of years. Well, actually, next year's 2022. Yeah.
Right. But it's like I'm just starting to kind of network out there and get word of mouth out there. And it gives me something to do on the weekends that is like for me. And I know you have podcasting and like you have Podtastic. And I really haven't had many hobbies that have been just for me. They're, you know, I podcast with you, but it's about you. And we have this podcast, but it was your vision. And so now I feel like I finally have my vision again on what I want to do. And it's very exciting to me.
You know, I just had a brilliant idea. What about you started another podcast?
No.
It'd be the Kristine's Wedding Podcast.
Stop trying to get me to do a podcast. My creative stuff is in like going and actually interfacing with people and like seeing brides have like the best day of their life. And I'm really excited because I'm getting to be a wedding coordinator at some different venues. So like one booked me for a country club. And then there's another one that is considering having me do their floral, and it's at Scripps Oceanography place. So yeah, just some really cool things and getting me networked in the wedding community. And so I'm just really excited about it. So I would love it if our listeners would go and visit my website. And again, it's KristineSmithDesigns.com, and it's Kristine with a K.
I will put a link to it in the show notes. So.
Of course, but I still wanted to tell people because while they're listening, they might just, open up another tab and check out my website.
Opening up another tab is what you do at the bar. You're like, hey, I want to open another tab up.
No, but if people are listening on their computer,
I know what you mean.
It's probably being a booger.
That's what I do best.
I guess so, but I'm really excited about it, and that was really my big thing for this week, and I just find that it's exciting to me. It's really fun.
I am so proud of you.
So, that was just something that was really exciting for me, and I think like it's perfect timing because as we're getting ready to go into vacation, like in the evenings, if the kids are in bed and if we don't have anything to do, I think I'll just take my laptop to do some of my fun work stuff for my business, not like regular work stuff, because, it brings me joy. And I just feel like if we have the time, then it would be fun. But I don't know. Do you think we're going to have Wi-Fi where we're at?
I don't know. Even though we're going, baby.
Well, we are up for an adventure, and I'm very excited that we are getting ready to come up to our 2nd annual Smith family road trip.
Ooh, it's like the Griswolds.
Yeah, it is. But this year, we're doing it a little bit different, and we're going into the wilderness, and we're going to have some fun stories about the wilderness coming up right after this.
Hey there, K2 crew. We love having you as our loyal listeners.
To keep up to date with what's happening behind the scenes, check us out on social media.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter.
And don't forget to follow our Facebook page.
Yeah, tag us in your favorite fun stories, and guess what? You might just end up on the show.
Ooh.
Today's episode is brought to you by Omio. Omio is a travel booking platform that makes planning your journey in Europe and North America effortless. Just enter the travel details and Omio will magically give you all the train, bus, flight, and ferry options for your journey. It's never been simpler to book your first real vacation for 2021, and best of all, using Omio saves you time and money. Yeah, that's a win-win. Omio wants to help you leave your house this summer by offering 5% off your next booking. Just head over to Omio.com and use the code OMIO5 at checkout. Valid until July 31st for new users on all modes of transportation. It's just a pick-me-up 2021 needs. Omio. Plan, book, and love the journey. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, Kris. So we are launching into our 2nd annual family vacation tomorrow with another road trip.
Ooh, fantastic.
But as I was thinking about this upcoming week and these new traditions that we're starting as a family, it made me realize that I don't know a lot about like what your family vacations were like growing up. And so I was thinking that it would be super fun if we spend some time during this episode talking about some fantastic memories and maybe some scary stories.
Oh yeah, I got a true life scary story about my life growing up. Actually, a lot of
about your life or about your vacation.
That too. But hey, babe, why don't you go first and tell everybody what kind of fantastic camping stories you can remember from your growing up? Do you guys do a lot of camping growing up?
Yeah. So growing up, we did all road trips. So we did like lots of different things. Every other year or every couple of years, my parents would take us on a big road trip where we would go like, I don't know, Grand Canyon one year. One year we had a family reunion out in like South Dakota or something like that.
That's far.
Yeah, but we had a big van, and so we had like our back seat converted into a bed. So while my dad was driving, like us kids would rest or whatever, and we had a little TV that plugged in to the van.
Good old days. I had rabbit ears, right?
Kind of. It was like this. I don't even know how to describe it. It looked like it had a tiny, tiny screen, and
I think I had one of those. Did it have like the little handheld?
Yes.
You would hold up like a hand. Oh, it was like almost like a boom box, like a stereo.
Kind of, but it was longer. Yeah,
right. And the screen was at one end.
Yeah,
right?
And it was tiny, and then you had the.
Was it color? I think ours was black and white.
No, ours was black and white, of course. But we would use that, and then our van had tables in the back, so you could put them up, and we could play board games, and then. The second row of seats, they weren't, it wasn't like a straight across row. They were like captain's chairs.
Oh, nice.
That rotated all the way backwards.
Oh, nice.
And so you could flip them backwards. And so we could have the tables out. And, you know, thinking back on it, that was actually the best way to travel. We did end up, when I was a little bit older, getting like a camper shell. And then when I was really young, we had a trailer, and we would go take the trailer. But when we would just like drive cross country, okay, I'll tell you about this story. So we were going to this family reunion, and, you know, it's expensive. We know this, having a family of 5 and having to figure out where everybody's going to sleep and feeding everybody.
Expensive or just logistically trying to figure it out?
No, it can be expensive when you don't have like a trailer or anything and you're driving cross country.
Oh, and they say you eat at every restaurant.
Well, right, because you don't have a place to like fix your meal. So, you know, my mom would always pack ice chests full of food to eat along the way. But then we would have to stay in like one hotel room. And I remember this one night, and I think we were stopping near the Grand Canyon. But I remember my sisters and I were sleeping. My mom put us on the floor with sleeping bags. And then we saw roaches.
Where?
On the ground right by us.
Oh, man. Did you guys catch them and eat them?
Oh, that's disgusting. No, we screamed and we refused to lay down on the floor. So I think all 5 of us ended up sleeping on the 2 double beds.
Oh,
or maybe there were 6 of us because we had an exchange student.
The Roach Motel.
We called it the Roach Coach.
The Roach Coach. Wow.
But it was that memory. But camping specifically, in the Central Valley, there was this campground that when I was younger, our church actually used to put together family campout weeks. And so our like a bunch of different families from the church would go to this campground at a place called Dinky Creek.
Wait, say it again. Dinky Creek?
Dinky, like it's a little dinky creek, like it's dinky, like it's small.
Interesting.
Dinky
that's kind of a weird name, but
no, it's just Dinky Creek.
It just feels weird to me. I don't know why.
Okay, well, it doesn't have to feel great to you. It was just my childhood. So the church, there was a bunch of families that would get together, and this one year, I think that there were like maybe 8 to 10 families that went out, and so we would all get camp spots that were kind of near each other.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And so some families had tents, and some had trailers, and then we would all like cook together, and it was fun because kids would be everywhere, and there was a little bit of water in the creek. And then my favorite thing though was if we crossed the road that you come in on the other side of the road, there was these like big slabs of rock. So they weren't like typical boulders, but they're like the flat kind of like, they look almost like arrowhead rocks, but
yeah, I know
big.
what you mean. Yeah, like
they're big.
Kind of like you know, if you know Yosemite, like half dome.
Yeah,
kind of like that, but smaller, right?
Kind of, but they're like at lower angles. And so the great thing is that there would be water running, like not cascading waterfalls, but like these streams running over the rocks. But the great thing is, because the rocks were smooth and there was enough water, we would make them into slides.
No way.
And you would like slide down into a pool at the bottom. And so that was one of my favorite memories. But I remember this one time we were camping and I was little. I'm maybe 6. and I was with my cousins, and there was this log over Dinky Creek, and there was like no water in the bottom, like in the creek bed or anything. And I was like kind of stepping across this log on the creek. And then
like the log challenge where you're like trying to like who can stay on the log the longest, not fall off in the water?
No, it was like a bridge over the creek bed.
Oh, okay,
so I was like,
you.
It's like the one where you're like balancing and like trying to walk
right,
across.
But it's on solid ground.
On either side, but not in the middle.
Okay.
Right. So I'm like standing there, like walking across, seeing if I could make it. And I had turned back and I was looking at my cousin, and all of a sudden I hear my mom screaming. My cousin is like paralyzed and everybody's like screaming. And I have no idea what they're screaming at. Like they're telling me, Kristi, Kristi, Kristi. And I was like, what in the world?
What do you want? I'm trying to walk across this thing.
And then I turned around and I looked, and on the other side of the log, a little ways away, was a bear.
Wait, was it on the direction side you're going to?
Yes, the side I was going to.
The bear's like, come on over here. Come on over here.
Little snack size.
I'm going to call you Snack. Snack pack.
But there was this one bear that was infamous for being in this campground. We called her Goldie because she was a golden bear, like golden colored, and she would get into everybody's stuff at night.
Do you think that bear was he was the first person to use Uber Eats? He's like,
I don't know.
Delivery over here. He called it up.
Meaning to DoorDash.
It does.
I see you.
I see you.
I see you at my door. I'm going to dash.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. But
wow.
the bears up there, that's the one thing to remember, especially after coming out of COVID for a whole year. And this is the thing I have to stay mindful of. I think there's not as many bears at Bass Lake, but there might be, is that for a year plus, their habitats were uninhabited by humans. And so they got to roam more freely. And now we're coming back. And I could see that there might be a little bit more of a clash between humans and bears. And I think I even saw a video recently of these bears just like walking right in the midst of people down to Lake Tahoe and going to swim in the water.
Yes, I saw that video on Instagram with them walking in the water and all that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then just on Tuesday of this week, not to freak you out, but...
Oh, please. Oh, you're going to freak me out.
Yeah, it is going to freak you out. So there was this gal that was bicycling cross country with her cousin and her sister. And
Wait. She was on a bike ride across country?
Yeah, she was doing a 5,000-mile bike ride, but over a number of different months. But they would stop every night and camp somewhere. And so they stopped to camp in this small town. And I can't remember if it was in Montana. It was somewhere where there's a lot of wilderness, or Colorado, something like that. And this just happened on Tuesday of this week. And a grizzly bear got into her tent and dragged the lady out and killed her.
No way.
What had happened was earlier in the day, that same grizzly bear had come into their camp area trying to get into their stuff, into their tent area. And they had food stored in there because they're on bikes. They didn't have like a car to lock it up into. So they moved all of their stuff out of their tent and like locked it up in more...
Aren't you supposed to put it like at a tree or something, like hang it from a rope?
You're supposed to put it somewhere. You're supposed to put it sometimes.
But bears can climb trees, can't they?
They can. And sometimes there's like bear boxes when you go to campgrounds. If you're in a tent, they'll have like these metal padlocked bear boxes.
Oh, like a locker. Yeah.
Right, exactly. That you can't get into. But the problem is because they had food in there earlier in the day and the bear knew it, even though they moved it, I think the remnants of the scent were there. And the grizzly bear came back at like 4:00 in the morning, and this poor woman was sleeping. And that's the thing that they say is if a bear comes into your camp and gets into your area, and especially if they're aggressive, don't go back to sleep because otherwise you're going to be unaware.
That sounds like a wonderful vacation.
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to diminish it, but it's like just a reality of we're in animals' territory, and animals have been able to really live as they should be in their natural habitat without interruption for the past year, and now everybody's back. So please be careful of the bears.
You're scaring me now.
I know.
I don't know if I want to go tomorrow now.
Oh, come on. We're going to be in a cabin.
Do the bears not pick locks?
Oh, come on. I'll put a chair in front for you. But okay, I want to hear your story because you've been telling me all week long that you have this super traumatic story and you kept trying to tell me and I just want to be surprised. So All right.
Okay.
Can you keep it under 15 minutes?
I don't know.
Okay. Tell me. I'm ready.
Okay. So yes, growing up, we also did the camping thing too. We went on camping trips. We did a lot of road. We hardly ever flew, probably because we didn't have a lot of money. So flying anywhere was kind of out of the equation. We flew,
but it was also not like a thing that everybody did at that time. Like you don't just fly on vacations like people do now.
Some people do.
So
they
expensive.
did. It's expensive now, but it's expensive then. So we did go on road trips a lot. We did go camping a lot. We went to Mammoth. We camped out there. We went hiking a few times. Did backpacking things. Did the whole backpacking and pitching a tent like in a little clearing.
Oh, wow.
And did the whole going to the stream and getting the water, boiling the water.
What? No way.
Oh yeah, we did all that kind of fun.
You're like backwoods, Kris.
I know. We did all that fancy stuff. My dad loved camping.
Aww.
We had a motorhome growing up. We had a van and I'm sorry, not a motorhome. We had a trailer that we towed with the motorhome. With the van, which is it was kind of like a motorhome because it had like the little table in the back and it had a refrigerator. It never seemed to work, and a little bench area and all that. And we towed the trailer. Went to Yosemite every single summer.
What?
I have a picture of me. I actually fell in this river at Yosemite. I was playing in the water and I slipped and fell off the rocks into the thing. And I was probably, 6 years old, and I was crying so bad. There's a picture of me. I might have it to show you on the computer. And of me just like in tears. My mom's like she's gonna try almost like she's laughing. I thought I was gonna drown. The water was maybe a foot deep, And I was like How
was that different than today's, Kris?
It's not much. But what's funny, I remember when I fell in the water there that the river just a little ways away was pretty rocky and had a big strong current to it, like rapid kind of currents. And I'm thinking like when I was probably 6 that I fell in there, I'd fall in over there and I would go down the river to who knows where.
Oh my word.
But the crazy
You're
story.
too much.
I know. But the crazy story I'm going to tell you about.
Okay. Tell me.
This is a true story. And you know that obviously I'm alive today. So I got out of it.
Okay. Tell me.
That being said. So one summer, I asked my mom what time of year. I thought it was in spring break, but it turns out it was summer. We went probably June. My dad, let me back the story up even more. My mom's dad was my grandfather was a big wilderness kind of guy. He had boats. He went fishing, hunting, had a bunch of guns. He loved being a wilderness kind of guy. He had an airplane. They flew to Alaska a lot. They flew in the wilderness a lot. And I know you keep the wrap up single.
I'm like, get on with it. I want to hear the story.
So one summer, my grandfather built a log cabin in the Montana mountains.
Oh, wow.
In the middle of nowhere. He built a cabin from scratch, a log cabin, and he would live there when he wasn't down staying there with us.
Oh, wow.
And it's has 45 acres of just straight up wilderness and forest. Clearing around the house, but the rest of it's like all wilderness and like one little dirt road that you take for 15 miles to get to the main road where it takes you to the nearest town.
Okay.
We're talking out in the middle of nowhere. And so one summer, we decided to go out there, and my parents decided to go out there and visit for the week, for a summer week or two. And my dad decided we should take the Amtrak all the way up there. We took the
Amtrak from California to Montana?
San Diego.
What?
Let me tell you, it is a hike. It was fun, I remember, but you slept in the seats, literally, and you changed train cars to different stations and different things, and it was a lot of trying to figure this out. We had a layover in Portland, I remember. But yeah, we did that. And I remember one time we were on the train and I woke up, right? And I'm like, it's dark, I wake up. Oh, it must be middle of the night still. And then all of a sudden we come out of a tunnel because we were in a there's tunnels through the mountains up there, So that was kind of fun. But we finally get there. We finally get up to the place. My grandfather meets us in his truck, whatever he had at the time. I think it was his pickup truck. And we all load up. We all take the car. We go all the way out to his cabin he built out in the middle of nowhere. We get out there. We're checking the place out. We get to our room, put our luggage down, and we're my brother and I, Danny. We were probably maybe 10 years old at the time. Well, I was probably 10.
Okay.
So he was probably 8,
okay.
Right? So 10 and 8. I'm guessing right around that age, maybe even younger. I don't know. So we were there, and we just got there. A couple of kids, probably Jacob Mason's age.
Okay.
So we were just walking around the property and checking things out. We are from San Diego,
right?
So we've never seen forest before. We've never seen jungle, forest, anything like that. And it gets pretty thick. It's real. It's a real
right.
forest.
It's real.
It's a real forest.
It's a real deal. Montana wilderness.
Right. So we start walking into the bushes, into the forest, and trying to checking things out and kind of looking around.
And that's major grizzly country too.
Yes.
Okay, keep going.
So we start walking into the forest and stuff and start walking around, and we're kind of looking around and stuff. We're like, okay, what's this fun? Let's go back to the house. So we start turning around. We start heading back towards the house. And we keep walking. And we keep walking. And we're
What?
like, did the house move? Where's the house at?
No.
So then we start walking in another direction. And then it hits us. We are physically lost in the Montana mountains
Wow.
as kids.
Oh no.
And we got so scared. It was the most frightening thing I can ever imagine when you're that young.
Oh my gosh.
And so we were panicked, and we were kind of didn't know which way to go because we literally just got there, right?
Right.
And we had the only thing we had on us, we might have had sweaters and maybe shorts or pants, I don't remember, but no like survival gear, no compass, no knives, no matches, no blankets, no
Oh my
nothing.
goodness.
So we were literally so scared, didn't know what to do. The panic sits in. I mean, you're young like that, and we were gone for a long time.
Oh wow.
It didn't get dark yet, but it was getting. It was we probably got there in the morning, and I don't remember how many hours we were gone for. But we were finally walking around. We found a road, like a dirt road. It might have been the same road that we came in on. I'm not sure. And we finally found the road. We kind of followed the road to a house. And we went to the house, and I was kind of nervous to really knock on the door of a stranger's house out in the middle of nowhere. So we, my brother went and knocked to the door. We kind of told him the situation. We kind of told my grandfather's name, and we, and we didn't know, and we had no, this is before phones and stuff.
Right.
And
Like before cell phones, not regular phones. Though.
Right. So even if we had a phone, I don't even know. And I don't know if my grandfather even had a phone at this house. And I think about
wow.
it. I don't know. I mean, he was pretty rural. It was like out in the middle of nowhere.
It's like boonies.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
So they think they know the property, the family. I think it was a lady. I don't remember that was there, and kind of told their situation to the husband. I might have been there or something like that. And we were so scared, and they were reassuring, and I felt so nervous and so scared, but they gave us a ride back over to the house. And then I met my family there, and I was so stressed.
Did they even know that you were missing, or did they think you were just playing?
No, they knew I was. My mom told me later that my dad was going to send out the search rescue.
Wow.
For us, because and had I not known this, if we kept walking in the direction we were going, I found this out that there was about 45 miles of bare wilderness that we were walking into.
Wow.
And nothing. And we talk of Montana mountains. It was pretty close to the Canadian border. So way up there. And you talk about grizzly bears. I didn't remember seeing any of those kind of animals that I can recall, but let me tell you.
But at nighttime there would have been.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Wolves, all of it.
Oh, gosh. And I'm having flashbacks thinking about that.
Squirrels and, crazy squirrels and chipmunks that would,
Spiders.
oh, yeah. Snakes.
Oh, gosh. But it was probably the most frightening thing I ever had to go through as a kid. That's probably why I'm a little more like camping. Like, as long as we're inside and it's more of a normal. It's like, because and that's probably why I always like watching those survival shows. I watch
my gosh.
like Survivor and any of those kind of shows where somebody is like stranded somewhere and they got to figure things out with the tools they have.
Yeah.
And those books that came out around the same year gosh, yeah, I don't know.
So what's interesting is I was listening to your Podtastic audio episode from this week, and you interviewed these really great gals from the Dead to the World podcast. And I don't know if it was on their interview with you or if it was on their episode of their show that I listened to, but they were talking about, I think it was theirs. They were talking about people that listen to true crime. Oh, it was yours. True crime podcasts. And why do they do that? And it kind of goes along the lines of like the survival types of shows. And I was doing some research on it over the course of this week. And what I found out is that it's typically people that have a lot of anxiety, that they like to play out these scenarios so that they're never caught off guard. And so I think that's what the ladies were saying on your podcast this week, is that when you watch those survival shows, it's because you were in a situation where you weren't prepared. And so you always think through, like, how might I be prepared differently if I was to face that again? And I think that's like how I approach this vacation for us, because we're going to rent a cabin for several days. And, our kids, we're taking them all up there with us, and we're going to have water near us, and we're going to need to provide food because, there's some stores and things, but we don't want it to be an expensive trip. And so if you look at the downstairs, I'm like prepared for every occasion, and lanterns and extra trash bags and cleaning supplies and, all of these little things, and, meal prepping for the week. Like, what are we going to have for dinner every day? What are we going to have for lunch every day and breakfast? And I have my grocery shopping list and all of those different things. And I think it comes down to that same type of a thing, is not wanting to be unprepared. I've had really great memories of camping. I would think that my only other experience that might have been somewhat negative is my parents used to take us camping up at Huntington Lake, which is, when we go to Bass Lake, it's like the first lake, and then there's Shaver, and then there's Huntington, and they kind of go increasing in elevation. So Huntington is like right where the snow water runs off, and so it's like the coldest of the lakes. You don't really swim in that one. You'll like ski and everything, but it's mostly for fishing. But one year, I think it was my senior year of high school, we had a German exchange student, and then my high school best friend Amy, who we just went to her house on Monday here. Amy,
yeah,
Mike and Amy.
Yeah.
So she was camping with us, and my parents had a motorhome, but they put all three of us girls in a tent. So my parents had the motorhome, and the girls had the tent. But Huntington is such a high elevation that there are a lot of bears. Lot of bears, yeah. And so I remember waking up in the middle of the night in this tent, and we were listening to the bear rubbing up against the side of our tent. And like we could hear it like that. Gosh. And oh my gosh. And we were just like paralyzed, completely silent. And we're like, don't say anything. Like, don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Goodness.
And then we heard
that scene from Jurassic Park 2 where that T-Rex is trying to sniff the blood for the thing. And
exactly. And, my parents were very careful to make sure we didn't have anything that could smell like anything, like no fruity perfumes or anything like that. And then we would hear the bear like knocking things over. We might have like cups and things out, but none of it had any evidence of food in it, because you don't want to leave any remnants out like that. But I remember, I will never, ever forget this. That bear came back like 3 nights in a row, and there were people like 3 spots over from us that it had gotten into their food the first couple of days. And so they were tent camping. And so what they did is they took all of their food and they put it in their car. And so some of it was in an ice chest, but a few things were just like sitting out in the car, that like there was a butter container. Like
sitting open, like everybody can see it?
Like you could see what the container was, but not what was inside. Like It was like...
And it was inside the car?
Inside of the car, windows up. It was like a Toyota Corolla. And we woke up the next morning. You're never going to believe this. The door of the car had been peeled all the way down.
No way.
The bear had eaten the entire tub of butter and gotten into their ice chest.
They can do that?
They're so strong.
They can break through a door?
Yes.
I thought the safest thing to put your food was in the car.
But you have to cover it up so that they can't see it. They can't smell it, but if they can see it, they know it's there.
What, they got to read peanut butter? They got to know what it means?
But the bears have been around containers enough to know what's food and what's not. And if it looks anything like food, they'll go after it.
I had no idea bears can read.
They're so smart.
They can read that stuff.
They didn't read it, but they can tell.
Do you think the bears would say this is gluten-free? They're like, nah, never mind.
Oh my gosh, you're such a nut. But I'll never forget that, because it was like a Toyota Corolla, and it had the door like peeled back. And
what do you tell your insurance company when that happens?
I don't know. Natural disaster.
I guess you could say that, right?
I don't know. You would have to say like a bear destroyed my vehicle.
I'm sorry, that's not covered. Did the bear have his fleece shot? Oh, it's not covered. I'm sorry. They'll probably have some scrutiny about that.
Yeah, but I think that I know that investing in these types of adventures with our kids is, if it's, it might be a little bit of a headache to prepare on the front end, but the deal is they have not stopped talking about Zion all year long.
Oh, really?
Well, they love talking about it, and Zeke will listen over and over again to that episode where we went over talking about Zion, and our kids have been so excited. And I remember when we were talking about what kind of vacation did they want this year, they all asked for a road trip.
Oh, wow. They love that.
They love the road trip, and
this is going to be something different, because we've done the road trip to Vegas a few times, and we did the road trip to Zion, which is through Vegas. And this way we're kind of going north, but not quite that direction.
Right, but none of them, not even Zeke, have been to Yosemite before. And you and I both have memories from growing up of being at Yosemite. And so for all of our kids, this is a first for them. And we get to, we're going to be at Bass Lake and take them fishing, and then we'll go hiking and let them get muddy, whatever. And Clover's going with us.
She is?
Yes.
She's been our attack bear dog. Yeah. Our Clover bear is going to attack the bears.
But I'm really excited
now,
for
she
this.
definitely is a snack size, really.
Don't say that.
Like, if she was a snack to a bear, she'd be like one M&M.
Oh, come on. Stop saying that. Don't talk about my Clover bear like that. But she is our little bear. But, we've got her flea and tick stuff that we've got to give her tonight, and she's going to be good to go. And the thing that I think I was cracking up about yesterday was because we're going to be at a lake, I had to get her a puppy life vest.
Oh, that's so cute. You put the puppy life jacket on her. This little life jacket you put on little Clover. It's got the little handle on top of it. So you pick her out of the water if she drowns. And she's trying to get the thing off her. It's like, get the thing off of me. I can't stand this thing. It's on me.
But it has a little neck pillow that you have to put just right. No, you just have to adjust it just right, because if a dog lands in the water, they have to be able to keep their head above water to keep them paddling.
I think she'd be okay. She's a little dogs can dog paddle and stuff.
Well, I'm not taking any chances with her, and so
is she gonna be water skiing with us?
No.
Is she gonna be a little doggy water skiing?
No,
put it on Instagram.
But I might hold her while I'm floating on something, just to give her some fun adventures. And we're going to have so much fun, and I can't wait until next week when we come back with our listeners and we give them a recap of our second annual family road trip. Well, it's the Belcher Shipman Smith family.
There you go. And I also will probably, most likely, shoot some video.
Oh, yeah. You got to get the GoPro ready,
with the GoPros. I got 3 of them, actually. I might get the kids to play with one, too.
For sure.
And let them take some footage. And then
You've got to do a legendary Kris GoPro video of this. We have last year's Zion trip. We have to do one this year, too.
Oh, what about my one from recently? We did the Mexico one.
I know, but I'm talking about with the kids. We have to make this an annual thing. You are the videographer.
I will do my best, and I will put them together, and I'll put the whole package together whenever we get back, and I put it all together.
And then you'll put it on the website under the Many Adventures of Kris and Kristine?
Right. We will put it on the website, which is www.krisandkristineshow.com.
And that's Kris and Kristine with K's.
And thank you so much for listening this week, and we are going to get hit the road. We got to pack tonight and get out of here.
And we'll be back with you next week. Remember this week that life is too short to wake up in the morning with regret.
So love the people who treat you right, forget about the ones who don't, and believe that everything happens for a reason.
If you get a chance, take it. If it changes your life, let it. Nobody said that it would be easy.
They just promised it would be worth it. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kris.
And I'm Kristine. And until next week,
keep moving forward.